more than 200 pages of English textbook into Chinese, and they can also make it electronic versions. They can put that on the internet, and they can publish that in Chinese format. So the education system in China, the distance is getting less a problem than before.
Okay, maybe I can ask each of you to comment on the following question. The potential productivity of employees in China is comparable to employees in America, or should we expect it to be higher eventually?
Productivity is still a problem, in China. If you compare with, say, one engineer in U.S., because of the experience, because of the way they get the job done, maybe right now they can be around 2 or 3 engineer or employee in China. But when it become, after a couple of years working in the same company, after they get to know what's the best way to get a job done, the Chinese employee pick up pretty fast. And so maybe for the first 1 or 2 years, yes, there is a productivity problem. But later on, if they work for a company longer, then the problem is no longer exist. Or because of he was in a very low productivity, so he probably just removed from the company at the first 1 or 2 years. So that's the situation.
Okay, I think it depends on the type of company. For a company that really hires the top talent and provides an exceptional environment, such as the 2 companies I've been fortunate to have worked in, I think the productivity is higher in China. The talent's equal, there's no substantial difference. But the productivity is higher because people have this thirst. They see that, wow, I got into this amazing company, this amazing environment. I'm going to, basically be like a sponge and learn everything and absorb everything and work really, really, really hard. Not because they're pushed by their management, but because they want to. Now, at the same time, I've also heard in other companies that's not always the case. But in my personal experience, the productivity is higher.
When I hired people, every person I've talked to, I've said, I'm looking to build a world-class organization. So don't come here unless you want to move up to that level. And what the productivity we got out of people was really at a world-class level. We would have, there's also this intensity that goes along with this that Kai-Fu just referred to. We'd have people come from the US to China to work on a project, and they were ready to give up after 5 or 6 o'clock, and our team kept going till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. It's not a productivity per hour, but just that intensity, that desire to get it done quickly. Means we attracted, our company was doubling every 6 months over a 4-year period, so you get very big very fast when that happens.
Okay, we are getting short on time, so I'm going to give each of you the opportunity while I'm talking to think about the following. I'd like you just to give one piece of advice, or one sentence, or one observation you'd like the audience to go home with. When I teach at Tsinghua, I always say to my students that in the course of any one class, if you can pick one thing that's meaningful to you, and most importantly, that you'll actually act on, then you've learned a lot in the class. So we're going to try that exercise here. I'm going to give you my own suggestion in a second. So Michael, why don't we start that and work this way?
My one suggestion would be, there's a lot of things in China that you don't control. You don't control the economy. You don't even control what your competitors do. You do control the people that you get on your team. And I always encourage leaders to spend a huge amount of time getting those people in and really making them a productive part of your team.
So most of the people in this room are bicultural and often bilingual people. I think you and your children and your friends are a very rare set of people who can make a huge difference to China and China's talent in the coming years. And there's a short window, I think, in which such need is very, very intense. And I hope you and your children and your friends will find a way to contribute to the growth of talent in China.
When a foreign company go into China, normally the Chinese people or Chinese government, they will see this company is coming here to make money and then take the money away. My suggestion is always think about what you can do and what you can contribute to the market where you want to do business, and also get a good acceptance by the market. Training, recruit talent, and train them up are always the best approach to get acceptance by that market, by that country. And then that will be the good foundation for you to start up your business in that country.
Okay. one final question we received, well, we have lots of questions, and I'm sorry we couldn't answer them all, but one that just come in asked the following. Do you think that attracting the best and the brightest in America to become involved and engaged with China is also a key issue? What approaches do you think might be effective? Obviously, it's an extremely key issue, and so here's my suggestion. My suggestion to each one in this room is go out and engage someone you know well who's not currently engaged in China and drag them or motivate them into learning about this great country and this question about the U.S.-China relations. It's just too important for us to sit in this room and not do that. Now, I might even be slightly more subtle by saying choose someone who's got the ability to leverage his or her talents in one way or another. And I'll give you an example of what I personally have done as a way of illustrating what I mean. Since any one person can only do so much. I am an advisor to Rick Levin, the president of Yale, on the topic of China. How did that evolve? It evolved because I learned that Rick was interested in China. I was, of course, passionate about China. I said, Rick, I'd like to be your advisor. He said, fine. And so I'm working with him now for 3 or 4 years. But why Rick Levin? Because he's the president of a major university in this country. He cares passionately about the topic. He's driving the university to be more global. He's personally engaged. He goes to China routinely. And I knew that if Rick Levin would help change the way Yale thought about China because of what Yale is, other universities would follow. And that to my mind is occurring. So I want to leave you with that vignette. I want to thank the Committee of 100 for the very important work you do for our country and for the U.S.-China relationship. I want to thank our panelists, and I hope you have gone away both educated and inspired. Thank you very much.